Hey, this is Gift Guru for Dudes, and I'm here to present to you a kind of a special video. This is not a normal video. First of all, you can see that it is very long. It's over an hour and a half. That's because if you look at the screen, it tells you this is a full-length, unedited video. It is a source video that I will use later. I will edit it down to a 5 or 10 minute tutorial to make it, more highly efficient. But what this is a recording that I did live while I was creating the graphics you can see on the screen right now. There's a bunch of arrows. I wanted to make a bunch of customizable arrows that I could use in Canva, for example, for all my Pinterest pins. And I want to show you how I can do that using AI and a basic, coupled with a basic graphics editing program. So this video is not for everyone, and it's especially not just for you guys out there that just want tips on how to wrap presents or put together cards. This is more for the techies out there who are interested in using AI graphics to make things for themselves. So yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to do with this though is I'm going to talk over it. It's going to be kind of like, I don't know if you know, back in the day when they had DVDs that had the editors or the commentary over there with the actors commenting over the video. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sit through here and comment through the video. So if you want to keep watching, go ahead. And so here we go. So it's opening up. This is Playgroundai A.I, and I'm going to go into, this is paint.net editing software, and you will see both of these in use today together. I think right now I was just checking some of the, so I got out the paint tool, and I'm painting in black, and I'm going to be painting some arrows. So I start off by just painting whatever shape I want, and here, like, again, it's going to be arrows. And while I'm doing this, I'm keeping in mind what I know about Playgroundai A.I and how it's going to generate graphics. I'm keeping in mind what I'm going to be doing in Canva and what kind of arrows I want, that they work well with, they don't look ugly, but they also stand out on their own and different styles. And you can see I'm using different colors here because the colors you hand over to Playgroundai A.I affect the final graphics they're going to make, because they're going to try in general to try to match those colors or to different extents. So I'm doing some different shapes of arrows, different colors of arrows, and then you're going to see different, like some of them have different fill effects, like different combinations of the interior fill color, because that also may affect the final outcome. So this is going to happen for a while, and I may actually, this is, I'm going to do this live, so this is literally, we're just watching, so you're going to see about how much time it takes. So like I said, this video is about an hour and 40 minutes, so it took me an hour and 40 minutes basically to make that entire sheet of customized arrows that I can use forever. I don't know if I'll need to make any more arrows again for Canva, at least. And I gotta tell you, I was so you can see I copied that one arrow so I can do a different fill. I want to do an arrow that's empty and I want to fill. Oh, by the way, I am using a white background here. You do want to hand it a background. Giving it a white or black background, for example, will cue the Playgroundai A.I to not really put anything extra in there. If you leave it blank, or if you draw squiggles and stuff out there, just at random patterns, it will attempt to try to use those patterns or attempt to try to fill that space with something else. That's one reason I draw my stuff first and hand it to it instead of just trying to ask Playgroundai A.I to make arrows. If you try to ask it to make arrows, you'll see what you'll get. You'll get all kinds of stuff, and it's really hard to narrow it down with a prompt. I found it very useful to actually start with a graph, drawing out your shapes. Again, this could be anything. This could be hearts, logos, Your signature is a little tricky. I I've tried that before. That's a little bit tough trying to get it to do letters because it doesn't exactly recognize them. But you can do that. But this is where you can also do this without not just your hand. Okay, so now I'm saving it. Okay, I saved it as a single file, ping file, and now I'm hitting create on Playground AI. It's going to go to the create mode, and usually have a thing you gotta close, and then the bottom left here where it says image to image, that's where you input you give it an image to start with if you want to. You don't, most people don't give an image, I guess, but you can give an image, and here I am finding it. Boom, it's right there. You can see my arrows are right there. So now now's where you just make some basic adjustments and you go to town making various arrows and see which ones you like. I'm going to put in a prompt. It just says something basic. You can read it. Graphic arrows. It's hard for me to see. Graphic arrows. And then on the right hand side, I like to change. Over here, I got the quality details. I like to make those higher. Quality details. And then I can bring the prompt lower because I gave it an input graphics. And then I also like to make 4 at a time. So here you go. Now you're going to see each picture is going to have the full-on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 different arrows. Now that was kind of a mess. And while it's generating, I might change the filter on there, and now I'm doing it with the new filter. So you can do things while it's generating. You can go over and kind of make changes for the next round that you're going to generate. Now these came out very, there's some very odd and so I'm going to change the image strength. So now it's going to focus more on the image. Like you can tell it to pay attention to the image like 0% or 100%. And the more you do that, the more you'll try to follow the image itself. So I did not like what I was getting. It was very randomy, so I want to use more of the image itself. And here you can see these following the image much more closely. Okay, so you can see the difference. Now it's going to be, the arrows are going to look very similar to what I drew. So you got to find, depending on your prompt, depending on your filters, you got to fine tune and find the right combination of how much of the image you want to use. Sometimes I use a little bit of the image just to see what kind of creativity the prompts give. Sometimes, what kind of creativity the filters give. Sometimes I make it really strictly follow my picture. Quality and details, again, that's going to take longer when you crank that up. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to just mess with all of the filters and with the prompt. You'll see me change the prompt again. Also, you're going to see me, I'm telling you ahead of time in case you want to jump forward. Okay, what's going to happen in the next 18 minutes or so is I am going to, actually I'm going to not like this picture that I use, the input, so I'll go back and change the arrows a little bit because I'm realizing what I'm getting on some of these arrows. The black arrows look pretty good, but the other ones aren't quite right. So I'm going to go in there later in about 10 minutes and redraw some of those arrows and put a new image in. Also, I'm going to be changing the filters and getting a whole different combination of arrows, and eventually I get some really cool stuff. But if you want, you can jump ahead to minute 29. That is about 20 minutes from now. So jump ahead to the video 29 and you will see the end result of me just going through and trying different prompts and different filters on my image, and also you'll have me changing the image to a little bit different arrow types after I've had time to mess around with it. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and jump ahead to minute 29 the video, and I will see you there. Although I will stay here and I will keep commenting a little bit, but I kind of already told you preview what's going to happen. But you can watch and you can see what the different arrows and stuff are. Okay, so if you're still sticking around, I do want to say one thing I kind of suspected that would happen is I might get some images that sort of look a little phallic, so I definitely would not use those as my final product. Anyway, you just get so much content by doing this and so much to work with. It's always best to start with, probably start with 100 images here, and then I'll just save the top 10 images. After I go through, I'll find the top 10 images to the resolution on and then download them and use those. And then I will get a couple arrows from each of those images. So yeah, these are pretty random. You can see I didn't really like most of these, although that right there, that on the left hand side there, those black and gray ones look pretty nice. I think I ended up using those. But the rest of them, all the other arrows are just not coming out. They're coming out too randomy, too junky. Like I didn't even like the colors on most of them. So you will see eventually. And some of them are okay. As you go through it, you kind of like some things, but then once you get 100 images, you have better to compare to. So here I'm going back in. I think I'm gonna keep the black arrows, but I'm gonna end up cutting out these other arrows because they were not working for me. Okay, these were not working, so I cut them out, and I'm gonna fill it back in with white. Start anew, a new fresh thing, and now I'm gonna draw in new arrows. Having seen what happened, I'm going to try to draw. I have a little better idea of what I need to draw to get what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to get out the paint and change the colors a little bit. I have a little better idea what to do with the colors, and a little bit better maybe what to do with the shapes of the arrows. So I even though the black and white gray arrows came out great, I don't want all black and white gray arrows, right? For Canva, I want a variety that I can use on different backgrounds and colors and for different cases. And I really want to try to get some like swooping, curving arrows, because these arrows here, they're interesting, but they're kind of boring. And I have a feeling when I talk about things in conversation, I want to be able to just like point to things, and I don't want to just like have a straight old arrow. I want to swoop to them. So let's see. I think I do a couple of those coming up right now. Here's a swoop right here with the blue. You can use the arrow tool in Paint.net, but this is exactly why I like the AI, because the arrow tool you use, it just gives these really basic blocky arrows, and they're not that useful. I mean, they're plain and straight, and even when I try to readjust the size, they don't work. Now that one, see, is a swoop. So notice I think I tried to make the tail end of that, a little more pointy, and like starts fat and goes skinny, and then it gets fat again. So you'll see that one works out. That gives me some interesting things later. And I think I'm trying to get like a fuchsia or something. Yeah, see, I'm using the tool. I thought I would just try to use the tool on Paint.net and start with that, but it's so far off. It's not even close to what I would want to use for anything. It's just does not have the right looks. But sometimes you can use the tool, like if you want writing, if you find the right font and make the letters big, you can make a word. I did that for some of my cards. I did a series called Will You Be Mine? Will You Be Mine for Valentine's, because there's a wool filter, makes things out of yarn. And I typed in the word wool and Will You Be Mine? And I tried to do it by handwriting. I found out that was maybe the longer way to do it. You actually use there's a font that you can find, some handwriting fonts, and make the letters big enough. That works out better. Just type out a word and make it in a image format. Use text to type out, and it's best to do like one word at a time to make it simple, and type out the word wool and then feed that in. Maybe you can and use that for your input. So I got some arrows here again. I did use some basic arrows from that. I did use 2 basic arrows. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back in and start feeding this into Playgroundai A.I. and get some other images. I think these came out a little better, especially the swoop on the upper right corner. There, so I replaced it. Now I'm using a new image, and let's see what I get from this. We still have another like 13 minutes to go of this. So if you want to fast forward up to like the moment, a minute 29 again. But see, here's another thing. When I start doing this, I get so excited. I guess just get lost into, not lost, but like in the flow of things. Look at that. Look at that brown arrow. I'm upscaling that one right there. I like that swoop and that brown arrow. That's pretty cool. There's some clean arrows on that one. There's a few right there, especially the swoop and that brown arrow too. I think I forgot to come back to that one later, but that's a pretty one. So I just save it. I just save it to my download folder and keep going. So I kind of refer to this as fishing. It's like I'm fishing for images, that I'm putting in the bait. The bait is my drawings. Oh, that's wow. Those are way out. Those are way out. Those are not even close. So sometimes I just get so into this watching Playground AI make these images with what I give it. It's it's so similar to like collaborating with another person, but that person complements your skills and that they are artistic and they can make stuff. But the good thing about them is that even though you're not talking to a person, it's fast. I mean, it comes up with content so quickly, and it's so exciting. I'll sit here for a couple hours just looking at and downloading stuff. I'll end up downloading, like this time you'll see me, I'll download 10 images and I think I end up using 3 or 4 of them. But the great thing is you got so much to work with. You do have to focus on not getting too lost, because don't download everything. It'll just sit on your hard drive. I still have some of that on there I gotta get rid of. And I find it's a good pattern to, while it's generating, to think of what the next prompt, if I want to change the prompt or change the filter, you can change the prompt and filter while it's generating, and then just keep moving up the stream and making your graphics. It's always good to have too many graphics, too much content to work with, right? As long as you can filter through it and get out of it what you want. So you'll see, this is what I'm doing. I'm taking all this work. It's like I said, about an hour and 40 minutes of work. But on the end, when I'm done, I get this one page of arrows with a transparent background. And that single page I can use for so many projects, especially on Canva. Some of these are kind of funky. Really funky. I don't think I did not use any of those. By the way, Playground AI, that green one's pretty cool. The blue one's kind of basic but useful. Playground AI is free. It has some limitations when it's free, as far as after you limit, for example, once you upload, and this is what, at the time that I started using it this month, it's I started using it January 2023, and it limits you to 1,000 images in one day. Believe me, sometimes you do use that. Then once you hit that 1,000 images, then it slows down how fast you can use it. One of the big limitations of having the free without paying for it is you can't go, the quality and detail, you can't go above 50 on the right hand side. You can do any quality and detail you want for your first 50 images, and after that you can't go above 50. So that was what I found one of my most limiting things on here. And also the speed, because sometimes I just want to make a bunch of images. I don't want to wait for my 1,000 for the next day to tick over. So I am a subscriber. I'm upscaling this one. Upscaling gives like 4 times in both directions, I believe. Horizontally and vertically, it gives 4 times the number of pixels, and it does sharpen the image. So I did learn, if you're going to upscale an image, because you have access to all these images later. When you come back, you got to look at your profile, and you have all these images in there. But once you leave this screen right here, once you leave this creation screen, you will not be able to upscale the image, at least at this time. So if you find any images that you might want to use later, upscale them right now while you're in the creation screen and get them in your downloads before you leave this screen, before you go to like look at other people's work on or close the window or anything. Okay, we're getting some interesting looking stuff here. I like the combination of the the simplicity, the aqua one over here, that swoop is kind of odd, but that one looks like a trophy. I like that one. Yeah, that one right there is very clean. That one, other one looks like a dude. That some of these are too distracting to use, right? But even if I just find one arrow now, notice, you know, I drew like 4 or 5 arrows on one image, and now each of these images is making, okay, six arrows in each image. Oh, I kind of like that brown and red, gray one over there, but so actually it was good that I was making this video because I was aware I was making the video, so it did, believe it or not, it did cut me back after a while. I was like, okay, it's time to move on. I got enough of these. I got to show how to use them. And we still have about 7 minutes to go before we get done with Playground AI. So again, you're just going to see me working on more of these and downloading these. You can jump to minute 29 and you won't miss any new steps. You'll just see more of these arrows that I'm generating over time. I didn't like that one. You can zoom into the arrow. See, you can hit the little zoom arrow and zoom in and look at them. Now I'm trying to use the origami filter. Just trying to make arrows out of paper. That was very distracting. It did not work. For a pointer, you need a pointer more simple than that, and those are not working. And then, yeah, origami. And then I tried Play-Doh, and I was trying to turn them into Play-Doh. I thought they'd be interesting, but again, they either look like little turds, or they look like ink. It's just, they didn't work either. Although it was interesting. I made Play-Doh hummingbirds. Those came out pretty cool. I made origami hummingbirds too. They were interesting. Now see, those don't look sharp enough. They look like those last ones I just showed on the screen that were pretty, look like someone just made it with a crayon or something. And so all these look just, they don't look like semi. I need arrows to look at least partially professional. They can have a little bit of quirkiness to them, but I don't want to look like someone just made them with ink and just sketched like I sketched it myself or something. These again, bloppy. You end up hitting that generate button a lot. You also got to watch if you change the filter, which I do often because Playground AI has lots of filters. If you change the filter, you got to check your quality and details on the right hand side because it will often reset that back to 50. I kind of like those arrows on the left, but the little round part in the bottom is just some of those arrows look a little inappropriate, like I was saying. Kind of wanted to avoid that. Now, what is this? And what filter was this? Because it's giving some crazy stuff. I'm trying to remember. Look at that. Why? I don't remember. Oh, those are some clean ones right there. I think I was using icon. This is what I'm using now. Icon. There's an icon or logo. Yeah, there's a image filter that does logos or like for your phone and stuff, for apps. That's a very unique filter. That one came out with some look at that. That one came out with some clean sharp arrows. I'm upscaling this one, saving this one. I don't think I ended up using it in my page. I might go back and make a second page. There you go. You can see I got like 9 of them. 9 pages saved so far. I might go back and make a second page with some of these arrows. They're kind of cool. There's some good swoop arrows here. Yeah, icon. So, or logos. Icons. Logo icons, I think is what it's called. That's very good for certain things. And I guess when I'm making these simple standout arrows, why not use logo icons? Sometimes when you use logo icons, it kind of forces it to make like a button or a square, like an actual literal, like an icon, something you might use on an iPhone. But these are coming out pretty good in general. Got a few more minutes left, and then I think I finally close out. I'll close out I like that blue one on the upper right. I end up using that for some big fat arrows on my page. That one's very unique. I think that one's very unique, and that will stand out. That will be something that you won't see on other people's pages on Canva or Pinterest, for example. I don't think you will see that arrow shape. So can't wait to get that one on some of my Canva pages. There you go. I think I think I just check a couple more just to make sure. And fishing for images. Fishing for images, yeah. By the way, this is the first time I recorded my whole screen, my computer screen, for a video, and I didn't realize how simple it was. You just right click on your screen in Windows, and then just say hide the icons, so it clears the whole screen of icons. I was trying to move them around and make it nice and neat looking, and I realized you can hide them all in basically 2 clicks. Right click, hide icons, or you click off of show desktop icons. Just click that off, and then boom, they're all gone. So you just have the image in the background all by itself. Upscaling. I think this is going to be the last one I looked at. I didn't even save it. All right. Just look at the last ones that I generated and moving on. So here's where I'm going to, come on. Oh, wait. That one's pretty cool. That orange one's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. I think this is my last one. The orange one's kind of a really neat shape to stand out. It looks a little bit kind of drawn with a pen. I kind of like that upper right blue one a little bit too, maybe. Okay, closing playground. There you go. Now I'm going to be doing all the rest of this work in paint.net. You can use another graphics program as long as you can do transparencies and save them as pings. You'll see me use the layers on the right hand side. So I think this first moment I was trying, you don't need to do this, I was trying to just get an idea of the scale of those arrows, and then I realized no, there's something else I want. What I did, I went into my downloads, and these are all the images. I think there's like 12 of them. I went into there and selected them all, and I just pulled them on over to my working folder. Okay, and then I'm just going to delete them out of here. So they were in my downloads. I pulled them all over. These are all the images that Playgroundai A.I made for me. And then since it's a new folder, I got to change the graphics to large size so I can see them. Probably want bigger size than that. Extra large. There you go. So there you are. There's all these arrows I have to work with now. And of course, I'm not going to use all of these. I'm going to pick 5 of them maybe total of this whole thing. Look at this resource you have. So combining your drawing skills on a graphics program, feed it into Playgroundai A.I, and you get back these awesome looking arrows. Okay, but it doesn't end there, because once you have these, you're not stuck with these arrows either. I'll show you what I'm going to do. You can see in the upper left hand, in the top, I just opened this file, so it's up there. It's just a plain ping file. And this is optional. I made a second layer just in case I mess up, but you don't have to do that. I'm using the select tool, paintbrush, and then there's a scaler at the top middle. You see me, I'm changing the scaler for how much it's going to pay attention to the color I pick. You have to slide that around to make sure it doesn't pick everything and delete it. Then I deleted, and I just left the arrows behind. So this is, and now I'm going to save this as a ping file. Save as a ping file, and now it will compress this the two layers into one layer, and it'll just make a simple basic ping file that's just going to be a PNG file that's just going to have these arrows on it. And I can use these arrows now as a resource, but saving it, and watch, it'll compress them, flatten them into one image, and now it's just a PNG file. Paint, it says I just go like this and I copy this guy right from the ping file, copy, okay. Now I went and create a new file, and when I create a new file, it makes it it automatically makes it the size of whatever you have copied. So if whatever you copy, it'll, and you say new file, it'll make it the same size automatically. And then I'm going to I forget what was I trying to, okay, I'm making a new file, a new folder. Okay, I made a new folder to put the final arrows in. Yeah, that's all right. I made a folder to stick all the final arrows in, because these are arrows I'm going to be working with. And so I'm labeling it here. This is arrow. My screen I'm looking at right now is really small. You can see I named it like arrow blue swoop or something like that. Okay, now here's what you can do. You can play with filters now. Okay, you can see the upper middle screen. You can see my blue arrow. I'm playing with different filters. This is you got to practice with, and I'm not going to be able. The hue and saturation filter is a very quick, easy way to change some things on here. So you can see, just slide this, that'll change the hue, which is basically the color pattern, and you just slide through there and see if you find anything that's worth anything. Looking for some very different colors from what I started out with. And then this is saturation. This is how much color you have, low amounts of color and then high amounts of color. And this is the brightness. So hue and saturation, this is a filter I'll use to quickly change the look of a picture. And it's very useful when you have just a simple arrow, like a 2-color arrow, with a background that's all transparent. Instead of if you try to do this to, I think I use invert colors. Sometimes you do invert colors just to see if it's something useful. Often it's not. Now I tried this one on these. It wasn't working very well. This filter changes the amounts of each of the RGB colors, and you're gonna see me do it. And I never used it for anything on today's project. But I was trying it out. You can change RGB levels separately or all together, and that one just didn't work out. I don't know. I guess I kept trying, but the end, I was trying to get like a red with this. I think trying to get like a red arrow. It didn't work. But what I was saying was, if you use these filters and it's a whole image, it's going to change the colors on the whole image, and it's just going to, most of the time it's not going to work, because you're trying to, you want to change just the color of the trees or something in the background. You don't want to change the people in the front, for example. But if you just have a couple colors on an icon or something, works really well. Sepia. This is sepia. This one's awesome if you want brown things that are different shades of brown. Like, it only works with brown tans, but it does have an awesome effect. Kind of goes with my theme of my my logo too. But yeah, you can do sepia and then switch back and forth. You're gonna see today when I go through this got easier and easier as I did a few more of them. I kind of got the hang of these arrows, and you're gonna see me start to crank out what I hope is some pretty useful arrows. So that was a good one, the sepia. I stuck with that one. So now I'm gonna save this as a separate file. Make sure you change the name. Come on, what are you gonna do? I'm trying some other stuff. Why am I trying this stuff? Just to check. I don't know. I guess I did a lot of stuff in this first picture just to get an idea, but most of the stuff I didn't use it later on. I just moved on. Hue and saturation and sepia were the two I use almost for the rest of these. Okay, so save. You're gonna save it. Make sure you change the name. So I think I used the same basic idea. I used swoop in there, and I changed it to tan or brown. Yeah, see, and saved it. Now you can see at the top of the screen. Okay, it's changed. So now I have two. So I'm gonna go back to my source. Did I do one more? I guess I just made those. Okay, now I'm gonna use this guy. I guess I just used those two swoops. What I did was I did copy. I did a square around it, a rectangle. I copied it. Then I said new image, and it asked me what size, and it automatically makes it the size of your copy. And then I just pasted. So easy when you just say copy, new image, paste, and it makes a new image with just that in there. So I'm saving this, giving it some kind of name. That's not a swoop anymore. It's something else. But I think I use black and white or something. These names are useful for later. And now I mess with this one. Like I said, right to hue and saturation. Apparently, when you have all black and white, hue and saturation doesn't do a lot. Invert colors. All right. Yeah, just invert them, black and white, white and black. And let's try sepia. Let's try sepia. Nothing. Nothing. So there's not much I'm getting out. Not much I'm getting out of this. You can. So when you have images that are all black and white, they pretty much stay black and white. There's not a lot of colors to work with. But I have this one down here. This is like the same style because the Playground AI made these the same style, but just because I added some color to it, now we got something to play with. Look, see, just a different fill makes us. This is gonna. If I remember, this is gonna give us something compared to the other arrow that had no fill in it. This is gonna give us a whole different set of things because it has color in it. I'm gonna save. I clicked on the other one to get the title, but then I changed it to I think orange or something. Black orange. That's the name of that one. Save the black orange. Now watch. See, just because I filled it. Come on. Did I quit? Oh man. I thought I was gonna. I stopped using it. I only made one, but that's apparently good enough. Anyway, this is a good fat one. I like this one because it's fat, like a fat arrow with some interesting shading to it. So I selected it, copied it, right? New file. Let's try again. I think I accidentally cropped it instead. Copied it. New file, paste it in there. Gonna save it, give it a name. I'm clicking on one of these as a starter name, but I think I'm gonna change it to something like fat, blue fat or something like that. Blue instead of simple, I put fat. So it says arrow blue fat. So now I'm gonna use hue and saturation, I think, and change the colors. So what you can see, again, you don't have to do it just with arrows. You can do it with anything. You can do it with hearts. You can do it with smiley faces, icons. You can draw little. You can have little sketches of animals. I also did one with a ribbon. I drew a ribbon freehand with a little bow on it, and now I got some awesome things for that. Especially if you do like a double color. I did like a black ribbon with some red hearts on it. I just drew that by hand. Then I put it in Playground AI, and it came out with some pretty awesome combinations of ribbons and stuff. You can see those. I've only used it like on 1 or 2 cards right now, on postcard, back of a postcard, but it looks awesome to divide a postcard. All these things. Oh, there, pink. All these things I'm not seeing people use them. It seems like most people just. There a lot of people on like Zazzle, they'll subscribe to services that have graphics generated for them. It's like clip art, and they'll use the clip art in their stuff, and they'll just specialize in using clip art and putting it in Zazzle and making some interesting stuff. But it's all the same. It's all clip art stuff, right? Here with AI art, you can go in and make your own specific graphics. Just imagine, you can draw. I've done things with borders. I've drawn a whole border. I've drawn a shape of a frame, right? I've drawn a frame shape or a heart shape frame, and I've used multiple hearts and patterns. So again, I'm just talking about this, free flow talking with this, but you can see I keep doing the same thing. I open up an image, I will copy it, I'll paste it to a new thing, and then I'll save it if I like it, and then I will just change with the hue and saturation and sepia. And look at this, I am generating a full set of different types of arrows here, different styles. I started with, like I said, about 100 or so images on Playgroundai A.I, 120 or something, and I saved about 10 or 11 of those images and put them on in my folder here. So now I had 10 images with each with like 6 arrows. And now I'm just going through those 10 images and picking a few of those and taking arrows off of that. So, and even this, you can see I'm only taking, so far I'm only taking what, 4 different arrows? 1, 2. I'm on my 4th or 5th different arrow, and then I'm adjusting the colors on it to give me some other arrows. Now, I guess I could go through and just literally snap out each of the arrows, because I gave Playgroundai A.I a certain number of colors, so it's giving me back a certain number of colors, but I wanted more colors. So it's good to use hue and saturation to build up your stockpile of colors of arrows. Going through, find another one. And this an hour and 40 minutes. Even saying it now, it doesn't. Oh, look at this one. Yeah, this one was fun. This blue one. Open it. I find if I open it in my folder, I open it with paint.net. Open with paint.net. Come on. Open with paint.net. There you go. Then I'm going to take out the select it all, delete, and then I'm going to use this as my source. There's a couple arrows I might have used on here, but I think I just used the blue one. So I'm putting a box around the blue guy, Control C, copy, open a new file. It'll automatically make the file the same shape and size as this because I have it in my thing. There you go, paste it, see, exact same size and shape. I think I'm gonna get rid of this this arrow here, this little extra tail, it's like it's moving through space. I think I use the tool to delete. See, I had to delete. Do you notice that I deleted the extra little shadow on the arrow, on the front of the arrow? I'm using the tools to delete. You got to clean up some stuff sometimes to make it look right. I'll put another layer with black background just so I can have a look to see if I missed anything. Right, you see a layer on the right hand side, there's a second layer behind it. Oops, I cut out the layer by mistake. Go back, undo that, go back to the right layer. Now I cut out the arrow in the back. So I just wanted to check to make sure I didn't leave any extra little particles flying around the arrow. And now I'm going to crop this a little bit because this is too much. Right, the image is too, crop it a little bit. Save it. Save as PNG. If I save it right now, it'll save it in the paint.net PDN format, which retains all the layers and all the information and probably uses more memory. But I want to save it as a PNG with a transparent background. So that's what I'm doing. Give it a name. Click on one of those arrows. Click on one of those arrows. I'm probably looking at it first to see what I'm going to name it. Click on one of those arrows and then change this to blue for sure. Arrow blue. How am I going to describe it here? Swoop or something? I don't know what I put. I can't even read it. My screen is too small right now. There you go. Save as. It flattens it now. See, because it had 2 layers. It flattens it as a PNG. Now it's just a PNG. We're going to be editing the PNG for a little bit by itself. It's not really going to be a paint.net file. There you go. Saturation. Hue said, look at that. Huge change, right? It was blue. Now it's orange. With hue, saturation, and brightness. Very quick changes here for almost a very different look for this arrow. Now this arrow could stand out on certain things, right? So I'm going to save it blue. I'm going to save it as orange. Look how quick that happened, right? I had one arrow that was blue, was pretty nice, but then I have this one, which I think will be awesome on certain things. I love the back, the fat tail of this thing, the extra little black shadow on this that makes it stand out. It's very basic and simple, but not, right? It's not like a typical arrow that you would see on Pinterest or something. I think I did like one more color. What am I going to do? Hue, saturation, and brightness. Mess with all of them. to get your own special what you need. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty dark, fuchsia looking color. That could be used on some pages. You gotta have the right circumstance for that arrow though, right? You don't want to overdo fuchsia. There, fuchsia. I saved it as a fuchsia arrow. I think, was that all I had on that one? Did I try another? Oh, I closed it out. And then, am I going to use one of those, or am I just going to cancel? Yeah, I didn't use any more of those. Okay, got out of that. Go find another one. Go find another example of arrows. And, oh, look at that swoop. This has a couple of really interesting, not that red. Oh, I didn't even notice that red one. That one's, I gotta change the tolerance. That's what the tolerance, the more tolerant it is, the more it will choose to delete. So you want to cut down your tolerance. Look, see, I chopped away that arrow on the bottom right. I deleted the arrow on the bottom right. See, I deleted the front of it. I guess I'm not going to use that here. But anyway, I'm using the swoop, that's for sure. Use the swoop, copy, make a new file, paste, automatically makes the right file. There you go. And there it is. Just save that one. That one all by itself. Just save that one. File, save as ping. Click on one of those for a name. I'm going to be blue here and change the back of it to something else. Not swoop. What do I call it? Something else. There you go. I think I did a few on this one. Change it. Come on. Hue and saturation. Oh, that's interesting, but a little too obnoxious. Did I try to get a red? You gotta use your judgment here, right? This is like you're trying to imagine this ahead of time, using this in a ping, in a pin. Oh, look at that. That would be good for a certain theme. Let's go back to sepia again. The sepia would be good for a certain theme. You can slide around. More to the left makes black and white. More to the right makes more brownish tannish. Save that as a tan or brown arrow. So one thing I did notice, for example, is besides some basic arrows you get on Canva for free, you have to subscribe. You have to, pay for the more advanced graphics on there on Canva. I don't know what Canva's going to do if people start learning about this stuff I'm showing you right now, and they start making all their own graphics. Spend an hour and a half making all your own arrows. Boom, forever, and you don't have to pay Canva for their arrows. They think they're, I don't know what they're going to do. Here I'm trying to tweak some things around. I don't know. It didn't work very easily at first, but then I found this. Look at, come on. Show it again. Look at that. White. Just white. I had no idea. This just came randomly. I'm just putting the sliders around. I saw that all white and I thought, you know what? That all white by itself is awesome. Just the shape of it, very unique, very simple. Okay? Just a cool little swipe in the tail there. And I could use that in very, in specific situations, like when I have a dark background, and then that white arrow will stand out on a dark background. That was inverting the colors just to see if I can get a quick change. This is, save this as like a gray with a white outline. Yeah. Okay, done with that one. I think, did I try one more type of arrow? Yeah, these guys right here. Copy, new file. No, yeah, I'm saving that one as it is. Okay, I'm saving that one. It says this. I tried changing. I don't think I got anything out of this one when I tried to change it. You know, because it's black and white. When it's black, white, and gray, there's not a whole lot you can do with it with colors. We're going to just get a bunch of black, white, and gray. That's all right. White arrow with a simple gray inside. Yeah, and then I tried this one, and this looks a little different. It has a little shading on it. Didn't like it. Didn't like it much. Okay, there you go. There's my selection of arrows. Now, you can use them just like this. Just upload them to Canva. Have a selection of a bunch of arrows to use. But if you stick around for a little bit, I'm going to show you what I'm doing with this. I'm going to turn it into a resource that I found more useful. I rather have all these arrows on a single page, because then they're super easy to find, and sometimes you don't even know what kind of arrow you're going to use in Canva, and you just want them all there in front of you, and then you figure out which one you're going to use as you're working with it. So I'm going to put them all on a single page with transparency around them. And wait a minute, there you go. I got this guy back. Haha. This one's very simple. It's got a little shading to it. Yeah. It's simple, but not, right? It's got a little shading to it. Very symmetric. I had to delete some of these shadows on it though. So I'm using the select tool, smart select. Delete the shadows. I think I'm going to put a background so I can check it, right? Black background, drag it behind, zoom in a little bit, and just check for any loose pieces like these guys right here. Cut those out. Bow. Some down here. Cut those out. Get rid of loose pieces. I think I just left that little flare on top. Okay, save that one. Go back in there. I didn't realize that I added that last arrow. I guess I was about to leave and I thought that one looked pretty cool. I'm probably going to change it to a different color. Ooh, sepia. Looks like there's got some, you can see more shading there with the sepia. Tan. Hue and saturation. What am I going to do here? Gotta give it some light. And then, oh, wow. Yeah, this is going to give some arrows that will stand out. These are good. This is a good arrow for it because it's short, right? It's not very long of an arrow. It can fit in small spaces, but it will still stand out. And it has a little bit of shading to it, a little bit odd, like a three-dimensional something going on, but it's still simple. I already have the bright red. One more. I'm going to do one more. I think this might be my last one. Finally, right here. What color am I going for? Yellow? Gold? I already have a blue one, guy. I don't like how that doesn't stand out very well. I think it's going to be like a yellow. This one, like a bright yellow, I think, stands out. That makes it kind of even more plain looking, though. But that's fine. It's an arrow. I think we just went the plain old yellow. So bright that I got rid of all the highlights and stuff. But hey, it's an arrow. Okay, I think that's it. Now, like I was saying, I think I just use this one just to get an idea of the scale. I just have a starting scale. I wanted to make an image that was big enough to hold all these, so I use this one for a starter. Just get an idea of how big this page would have to be for me to work on. And I delete all that. I start a new file. This is going to be a working file. Now you're going to see paint.net working file. You're going to see me on this. On the right hand side, you're going to see all the layers. Right, the layers of me over there. You can see me working in different layers, and you're going to see me combining these other images into this one image to make one page of all these arrows. Again, I'm gonna first I can get a size big enough that all these arrows can fit in there without getting in each other's way to work with. So each of these arrows I'm just going to reopen with paint.net like this. Then I'm going to select the whole image, right? Copy. Then at the top of the screen, you can see I click on, I go back to and I paste. And I'm just going to put them over here. And now I'm putting them all in here. In this layer, I'll make a separate layer just for the arrows. I have a background image, and then I have one area here for all the arrows to go. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure you don't accidentally paste one arrow overlapping another arrow, because it'll remove some of the graphics and it will look wrong. So that's why I have to make an area that's a lot of space here so I can work with all these arrows. I'm going to organize them later. Okay, right now I'm just going to kind of paste them all in here and try to keep them out of each other's way. I'm going to go through here. I'm going to go through all these images. I'm going to open each one in paint.net, select it, copy it, and paste it over into that one layer in this one image it puts them together. And I'm going to sort of organize them a little bit ahead of time. Like I know the same types of arrows are going to sort of be sitting next to each other, around each other, and basically organize as a unit. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm saying is I'm putting all these arrows together in one image, because you can then just take this image, which, by the way, someday I think I can just give this to you guys. I'll upload this image and you'll have all these arrows. Give to my subscribers or something. But subscribers on my blog on www.giftguru4dudes.com on the blog. If you go there and subscribe someday, I think I'm going to start a newsletter, and I might start giving away some images and stuff. But anyway, why do you care? You don't need my images. You can make your own. I'm showing you how to make your own. You don't need mine. So back to what I'm making here. Put all the arrows on one page with transparent background, and you can see them all at once. And so what I'll do later is I'll just take this one page and put it in Canva, and it'll be in my account on Canva. I have a free account on Canva, so that's why I'm making my own graphics. You can insert this entire page into one of your projects. The whole page will be in there. And then you just go to crop mode and crop it down to one arrow. you crop it down to one arrow and then use that arrow. And you can copy and paste that and reuse that arrow. Or you might be right in the middle of the project and find out, I don't like that arrow. Then you just go back and recrop it, pick a different arrow. And you can flip it, rotate it, do all the stuff you do with a single arrow. But you don't have to go back to your image file and find a different arrow, insert a different arrow, insert in different arrow, insert into your project. You just put that one page in there, all your arrows in there in one spot, and you can crop it. Anyway, so back to making this. Again, all I'm going to do here, again, this is going to be a little repetitive, the next 10 minutes or so. You're going to see at the top of the screen all these files being opened. I'm opening all these individual PNG files, then moving the arrow to a certain spot and sort of organizing them. I want to get one of each copy of these arrows onto this layer, this one layer on this paint.net file. You can see when I do Alt Tab, you can kind of see my Camtasia screens popping up. That's what I'm using to record my screen. I'm using Camtasia because I already had it. I've had it for years and I paid money for it, so I might as well use it. It works pretty well. I know it's kind of an old program. It's been around for 15 years now. And the version of Camtasia I have is probably like 5 years old already, but hey, it works. I know how to use it. It has a lot of features in it. It works pretty well. So again, yeah, one of the goals, I'm trying to organize them into matching types of arrows with just different colors on them. Makes it easier to compare them. And I'm trying to keep in mind that I'm going to be using this one page inside of like Canva, and I want to see all my arrows easily comparable, so I can choose them when I need them pretty quickly. By the way, I actually used this after I made this page. I went back and put it in Canva and used it earlier today, and man, it works great. So I'll say again, you can do this with anything that you want to use. If you're working on multiple projects, you can make a whole page of hearts, different kinds of hearts in one big page, and then just use them in your projects, cut and paste them. Wait, did I say cut and paste? I just meant crop. You just crop it and use the image. So while he's working, while Dennis right there and the screen is working, so hopefully you can see this is a little bit different. I know a lot of people, when they use the AI computer generated graphics, they just generate one complete image and they work on that and they make awesome stuff, and sometimes they just take that image. A lot of times they just take that one image, put it on some framed work and sell it, and they make thousands of dollars making that, using that, and that's awesome. On the other hand, I see people, like I said, in Zazzle, for example, they'll just use clip art. So what I'm trying to show you is you can do something in between. You can make your own clip art that's unique and different and very specific to what you want. Sometimes you're like fishing and creating it together collaboratively with a computer, and sometimes you're discovering these arrows. I think right now I'm counting them. I'm counting them and comparing them to my files to see how many I got to go. I want to make sure I get all these arrows in there, and I know I'm missing some right now. So yeah, so this is, I'm doing this now, but I have a feeling eventually, not too in the far too different distant future, for AI is going to be able to do this on its own. You can probably just say, give me a set of different arrows that look like this, and it'll probably do that too. So we'll see. But I'm doing this now. I'm kind of having fun doing it. Who knows? Eventually, you're just going to go to the computer and say, hey, I want a Valentine's Day card. with a frame in the front. I want it to be burgundy in the front with swirls, and the back inside is going to be red and white with hearts. And can you make that card, and it'll just crank out 20 different cards, and you pick the one you want. And then you can say, oh, just add this image of me in it, and it'll put it inside of it. That's going to be, I don't know if that's exciting or sad. As to some part, right now we're in an exciting time, I think, where computer AI is making incredible stuff, but still needs the users around to interact with it, discover it. You know, someday when AI is doing everything, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna stop making movies. You know what I'm saying? We'll stop making movies. We'll just go to our actual smart TV and just say, hey, I want to watch a movie about a frog prince and an alligator princess, and they live on the moon, and they discover a secret magic potion, and you're just going to give it a basic outline for a plot, and then it'll just make a movie for you. And you'll sit there for an hour and a half and watch a literally unique, one-time only movie just for you. Or, yeah, I want it to be an action comedy. Yeah, that's it. A rated PG action comedy about this. You know, just give it a 2-paragraph starter and ask it for a surprise ending that's realistic. That'll be the prompt, something like that. Seriously. But as of right now, 2023, that's not the case. So I will continue with my little hobby here of making my own unique, specialized graphics and putting them into Valentine's Day cards and photos and gift wrapping boxes, gift wrap paper, things like that. Okay, so you can see, again, lots of room here, right? Because I wanted to work. I wanted to have a lot of space to work. You got to make sure you don't accidentally paste one of these right on near too close to the edge of another one. And keep in mind, I want to be able to crop these when I'm done. I want to make a page that I can crop these arrows, so I'm making sure that they can each of these arrows can fit in a rectangular size cropping space, so I can crop out everything but the one arrow that I want to use in my project later. I think I did a final count. Just check to make sure. I think there's one arrow I'm missing. That's it. It's that lime green one. That's what I'm missing. Okay, so you get the idea. You can take this picture and you can save it. You can mess around with it on your own. You probably can figure out how to do this on your own. Move these arrows around, make it more organized. I am going to, for the rest of this video, I'm going to use multiple layers. I'll probably end up sticking different groups of arrows on their own layer, so I can manipulate them and I can move them around on the layer, like move the layer around. That way I don't have arrows interfering with other arrows. I think I end up making 5 different layers, each with a group of arrows on it, and I click and drag them around and format them. Oh, I'm pulling in my GIF Guru for Dudes logo, and I'm going to end up saving that on the page. So you'll see on the final product, you'll see it saved on there. So someday when I post this image online for you guys, you'll have my logo in there. Yay! But anyway, the rest of this video is probably not that important to watch. Although I will show you how I actually did it. I'm basically just going to make, like I said, 4 or 5 layers. I'm going to put groups of these arrows on those layers. I'm going to manipulate them, move them around, and then until I get something that looks like what I want it to look like for the final thing. And then I'm going to end up cropping the picture down a little bit because that's part of it. The picture's too big right now. But I'm going to organize these into a nice shape where they're all fitting on a rectangular sheet of, a rectangular page. And then I will save it as a PNG with a transparent background, and it'll flatten it all out and save it as a PNG for the final product. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys. So feel free to end the video or fast forward to see what's at the end. I do got to point out though, I want to point out real quick though, what you're going to see later. So I'm not going to hang around with this, but there's that one arrow there that's all white. You see that in the middle of the screen is kind of being covered by that right there, all white. I got through this 80% of this and I forgot about that white arrow. I put a white background so I could watch my arrows and make sure they didn't interfere with each other. I forgot about that white arrow, and it ended up popping up in the last 2 minutes of my edits, and luckily I had not accidentally deleted anything from it. But I was using a white background for reference, and that arrow disappeared, which it shows you why for arrows you want different colors, because it depends on your background. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm gonna actually leave this as it is and leave it up to you to decide if you're gonna keep watching or fast forward or leave. Until then, wrap it up, dudes.